Okay, Dad's running late. He's gonna grab his iPad. Hi. I cannot. Let me turn it up on my end. Can you say something? Oh, it says still connecting to audio. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I can hear you.
Okay, good.
Can you hear me? I have two fans going, so if it is
No, you're fine. I can hear you.
Yeah.
I can hear you. I think last night my laptop decided to update itself.
Oh.
And I haven't been able to click. I realize now I can't click on any link. In other words, it doesn't anyway. But I'm on my iPad, so that's fine. Okay.
Our laptop, our work laptops like to reset on Thursday mornings, which happens to be when we have an all staff. So
Yeah.
it's not uncommon for like half the people to just suddenly drop out and then slowly trickle back in as they
Yeah.
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 How are you doing? How was your week? How are you feeling?
Uh,
What's new?
well, I'd say the big news is for the last couple of days, I've been walking in the house without a cane pretty well. So outside I take the cane, but I'm learning to walk properly without limping,
Right.
and
Right.
it's not too painful. So that's
Good.
kind of big news. I went into the city. I worked 2 days in the city. It was okay. It was kind of hot, but it was all right. Been playing with the dogs in the pool this afternoon. I kind of had a pretty much of a lazy day. How about you?
I had a busy week. It has been record hot here, but I mean, I'm not going to complain. I think
Right.
you definitely, obviously, with Kentucky and all the flooding, and with just other parts of of even my own state, there were the middle parts of the eastern Washington had like 111 degrees and things like that.
Wow.
So, but see, for Seattle, and again, like something like, I mean, you compare it to like, I think Seattle, like only 2/3 of people have either central air or air conditioning compared to
Wow.
Portland, which has 81%. So it's, I mean, we're just not equipped. We're not, but it doesn't normally get this warm.
Right. Right.
This many days in a row. I was mad personally because many of the libraries have been closed, and especially, and I get it, they're not air conditioned or air conditioned properly, but especially the ones in the neighborhoods where they really need to act as cooling centers, where whoever it needs to be to have a place to go indoors, but they've been closed, and so, but that is what it is.
Were they closed for COVID reasons or just?
No, for the heat, because they're air conditioned.
Oh, I see.
Well, that's the thing. It's not even that all branches closed. It was just that some branches, which happen to be the ones in the neighborhoods.
Yeah.
I mean, it's this equity issue. But again, why are those the ones that don't have air conditioning in the first place? I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, yeah.
So I have a hot topic to discuss.
Go for it. Yes, please.
And it may sound frivolous, but I'll tell you how it came to me.
Yes.
The topic is hats.
Okay.
And the democracy and the politics of hats.
Oh, well, I don't. Well, speaking.
Okay. So there you are. Yeah. So, we'll get to message hats. Message hats are very important. Okay. So, this came to me because there was a photograph of the Pope and Native Americans. Although it was a photograph that was taken 2 or 3 years ago when they came to visit him in the Vatican.
Okay.
So he was standing up.
Yeah.
And he had his little Pope hat on.
Yeah.
On either side of him were 2 males with big headdresses, right?
Right.
And then there were other people in a circle around him, none of them wearing headdresses and none of the women wearing headdresses.
Sure.
And it's just started me thinking that obviously the origin of the hat for male and female is to protect from the weather, right? I mean, it's generally the first hats were like it's too hot or it's wet or whatever. So it's like but they quickly, well, not quickly, but over time, they signify rank.
Oh, yeah, yes.
They're huge signifiers of supposed merit or rank. And we talk about people being the heads of organizations, and the hat goes on the head. And in some cultures, they definitely indicate a class structure or an economic structure, whether that has to do with who can afford a hat or who's allowed to wear or not allowed to wear a certain kind of hat.
Yes.
And now we have we're supposedly a democracy, right? I mean, I think actually America is pretty good, but in America now we have since maybe the last 50, 60 years, men don't wear the kind of hats they used to wear.
Yes.
It's a lot of men, regardless of station in life, wear baseball hats, right? I mean,
Right.
it's standard
Yes.
issue,
Yes.
and it doesn't have a connotation unless it says MAGA, right? But it can have a connotation,
Right.
because it can send a message
Yes.
to people about what you're.
Well, I think like any item. Well, not to interrupt. I think like any item.
No, I want. That's my speech.
Every everything. Every clothing item sends a message to someone, or it doesn't. I mean, either you're someone who kind of reads other people's things or you don't, but it's all symbolism. It's a whether, I mean, even a plain baseball hat with no logo on it says you are part of some culture. Baseball hat wearers, not everyone is I put one on and then immediately took it off because I still to this day, even though I've been wearing them my whole life ish, don't quite feel like a baseball hat wearer like those bros who can just casually throw one on, whether it's a curved bill, which goes in and out of style, or a flat bill, which goes in and out of style, and sideways, So even just the baseball hat, how you wear it, you know.
Yes, it's a signifier.
It's all signifiers. Um, yes, the logos. And then just going back to the Pope, and obviously, do you know or did you hear the quote about, I mean, the Pope was sort of very honest about the complicity of the Catholic Church in the
Yeah.
school, right? I mean, really, all the atrocities that went on. Though, I'm sorry, I said explicit, but some of the criticism of what he had to say was, well, no, he really wasn't explicit. He really didn't say the murders that happened, because we're talking about unmarked graves of children. He didn't say sexual abuse, which again, Catholic Church, this is something, if you're going to be transparent. He did say evil, which I want to be clear. He's the Pope. The Pope does not use the word evil lightly, and he was talking about the Catholic Church and their complicity. So that's, I mean, that's to be taken seriously, and yet still criticism so for instance, so this was in British Columbia. This was in he went and he's been in Canada. I want to say Osage Nation. I can't remember, but now another one recognized group as Indigenous group has said they're suspending their sort of contracts with, and I know because I work for a nonprofit, and obviously my nonprofit, there are counterparts in other parts of the state that are run by Catholic charities, and I know they go into tribal. So I mean, this could, I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, but this is all. I mean, it's a reckoning, and so there have been more articles just about the complicity of the Catholic Church in these boarding schools that again ripped children from their families, forced them to deny and ignore their culture, refused to let them learn languages, forced assimilation into dominant culture, white culture. And then, if they don't comply, many ran away and or disappeared and were murdered. I mean, it's this horrible in the United States and Canada. I mean, my state has a horrible history of this. So,
Well, yeah, I think it's relatively I think it's unique that a pope would categorize such a recent history of his own church as evil. It's easy for them to talk about the Middle Ages, but I think that's, and I think that's an interest. I think this guy he's an interesting fellow, but this was world. I mean, in a way, this was worldwide, and it's part of the missionaries were colonizing.
yes.
And when I was in primary school, in Jesuit boys primary school, we were each boy was given a printed card which folded over, and it was sectioned like a calendar.
Mhm.
And when you donated, I don't know, a penny or a sixpence each week to the missionaries, and it was marked off on your calendar, right? And when you had completed whatever the amount was, you got to name a black baby. You got to give a name to a black baby in Africa. I mean, and so it's like you were, our sense as boys.
No. Oh, I'm sure. Oh, yeah.
We thought we were doing good, right? I mean, we realized, but we thought, and we were thinking, we gave names like Bartholomew and whatever, but it was, I mean, it's outrageous. I mean,
no, that absolutely is. I mean, I also just connect that to Save the Children and all those, like 63 cents a day. How disenfranchising many fundraising campaigns can be for the communities that they allegedly serve, just the way they message things out. Again, the opinions I express are purely my own, but my agency works really hard to do it a different way that really says, hey, these communities we serve are awesome, autonomous, and they can do for themselves fine, but there are these systemic barriers, and we're here to walk alongside them to make sure those don't get in their way. That's our purpose, and that's a very different thing from...
It's very different.
They're so busy and they can't do without, so... And again, we still misstep in how we communicate that and how we, again, I almost said it, use their stories or tell, it's not even their story, elevate their stories, elevate people to tell their own stories rather than telling those stories for them so that we can collect money on their behalf. And it really is, it's a strategic shift, and it takes, but yeah, no, missionaries, so when we all know the Bible is the most published book in the world, but is that at whose request and at whose funding? Because I can tell you, so when I worked at Prisoners Literature Project in San Francisco, first of all, some states, it's interesting, no state, because again, the separation of church and state that people like Marjorie Taylor Greene would like to explicitly make go away, says you can't deny people, so the state regulations say only religious texts. So for instance, in Alabama, you can only send religious texts, and if you send anything other than Christian texts, it will be rejected. You can't send...
Really? So it's only Christian texts?
No, that's not what the law says, but I know for a fact, because I'm the one who receives them, what will get rejected over and over and over. But that's not even my point. My point is back to the Bible being the most common P.S. of all the letters that we got was, P.S. I don't need any Bibles. Because that's what all in prison. There's no way they don't have access to a Bible. What they needed, the number one request, dictionary and school books, and I don't care what age level or what subject. Dictionary and school books. Those were the number one requests, and then generic fiction. I like Stephen King. I like science fiction. I like and then whatever, but. Specific, no one wanted Bibles, but they definitely, of all the letters I read, hundreds and hundreds of letters, there are tons of Bibles, but who wants them? I mean, I'm not saying, again, I don't want to, if you're a devout Christian, and I'm not criticizing anyone for their beliefs and faith, but I'm saying, no, when this missionary, when you're printing these things, bring them into places and saying, you can eat after you take this, how meaningful is that? Is it being the number one book in the world?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think it's rather like those rich politicians who publish a book and then they buy most of them and then they say it's a bestseller. I think there's so much money in Christianity that they go. I mean, they go, or they can print as many and flood the world with them, but they get used as doorstops, or I don't know what they get used as, but not to allow prisoners other religious literature, I think is shameful. I mean, is shameful. Whether it's the Quran or whatever. I mean, or Buddhist texts or Confucius or yeah. I mean, that's that. Yeah. Well, that's the white Christian. That's the white. That's the white Christian right for you. But yeah, I agree with you. This. Well, it's still going on. I mean, children's hospitals raise money with this, with these appeals to emotion. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know if they, I don't know about money raising. I like the way you guys do it. I think you guys do it the right way, but I mean, I get 3 emails a day from Stacey Abrams or text saying, Michael, this is urgent.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a personal appeal. I almost feel they're going to say something like, I know you went down to the gate just now, or.
I think it's worth saying that because I'm on all the mailing lists because I'm fascinated. Yeah, again, all of them. I mean, and again, some of these tactics aren't left versus right, and it's worth noting. Publish a book, and again, you're in the publishing industry, so but yeah, this cynically publish a book, and that kind of sends out feelers, and then use your own fundraising campaign to finance a book, and all of this is legal, but should it be for either party to be able to buy a whole bunch of copies of your book, give them away, but collect? I mean, it's laundering. It's laundering, and it's at the same time. Again, not to. In the music industry, there's a similar, and some of my favorite artists do this, and I'll shout it out, like Fall Out Boy, Nicki Minaj. So currently, and I've called this out for a long time, a stream counts as a sale. And I think, well, many streams are for free. Just like you watch something on TV and it's ad sponsored. That's very different from making a purchase. Making a purchase is a commitment to something. A stream is not a sale in my mind. Now, so what artists do, the other thing that artists are allowed to do is they make these bundles. And so, for instance, they sell T-shirt and it comes with a free download of the album, and they sell a variety. I don't know. They sell 20 different things, and they drop it as a merch drop, and their fans who are super fans go out and buy as many of it as possible until it all sells out pretty quickly. And each one of those counts as an album sale, despite the fact that not each one of some of those I've sent you. I've sent you links of like, hey, here's a free link I got because I've gotten so many, because I bought a T-shirt and a bag and a sticker. But I try to do something with all those download codes. But even for the bands I like and respect, it doesn't feel authentic that these all count as a sale when you're not buying the album. You bought the album one time, or you, however you consume it. You're buying a T-shirt that they've attached an album to and called it an album sale. And I guess the cynical part is sometimes when an artist, especially a bigger artist, their sales aren't doing so well, then they'll do this big merch drop, and it's become almost a parody because it becomes apparent like, oh, you're doing this to boost the album sales, but the fans eat it. I don't know. But this is all, I don't know, sell things. It's it's a free economy. Any of your thoughts on any of that?
Well, I have 2 thoughts. The first one, which is historical, which is that because I was a child of journalists in Fleet Street, mm-hmm. I quickly found out that newspapers claim numbers of readers mm-hmm. based on the fact that they think they claim 6 people read each copy of the newspaper. so
But no, but they didn't make that up. They had a study somewhere that was published.
Yeah, they didn't make it up. But they.
Yeah. No, I know. Yeah.
They manipulated it, I think. So the other thing, which is, I guess, tangential to what you're talking about, that interested me, and I couldn't grasp it from an arithmetical point or a technical point of view, was complaints about Bruce Springsteen Ticketmaster tickets going for $2,000, $200 tickets that became $2,000 tickets because of an algorithm that Ticketmaster had.
Oh, I know
with
this.
the
Oh,
so
I don't know exactly Ticketmaster, but I know, well, so again, this is based on the sellout model, the drop. The Ticketmaster will alert fans, if you're a fan of a certain person, tickets go on sale either in your region or for a national tour on this date. Sometimes they'll even offer you a pre-sale or a pre-thing. Sometimes, back to the merch drops, if you buy a merch drop, you can get a code for a pre-sale to a concert. And not individuals, people who use bots and algorithms to buy up huge blocks of tickets do that before anyone can do this. And this actually happens with like on almost any kind of sale across any kind of industry because of the way computer algorithms can be manipulated. Sneaker drops, but especially anything where it's at 9 p.m. everyone in every time zone will have access to this. People who have computers, whose computers can just, who are programmed in a certain way, can buy it all up and then immediately jack the price up. And any company that doesn't take, oh, okay, here's a perfect example. I want to make sure I'm naming the company. I think it's, well, brand loyalty. I want to say it's Chevrolet GMC, even though I drive a Chevy Silverado. I want to say it's Chevrolet, but one car company has come out and said those predatory dealers, those dealers who pre-order from the manufacturer and then mark the price up, the dealers who are, their cars have obviously gotten very expensive, and there are shady dealers who are, even though they're officially licensed dealers with it, they're doing these different kind of back end things to mark and jack prices up because they can, just because things have gotten competitive. And one car company, I don't want to state it definitively, has come out and said, well, we will take action against those people. Yeah, no. And then another thing has to do with loans, but again, it all gets more technical than I'm not a technical person, but I know how scams work, I guess. I know.
So on a practical level, I have a ticket for Roger Waters at Madison Square Garden that I will be in Korea. That I've had this for 2 years and the dates have changed, right?
You can and sell this. Okay. Well, several things here. If the dates have changed, you may have rights around how many times can they change the date, but actually the coronavirus gives almost all, like it's always in their favor.
I mean, I have finally understood. I'm not going to go to that concert. So do I sell the ticket?
You can.
Do I find a worthy fan who I could give it to, but who's not a scalper? Or I don't know. I mean,
you can, all of those things. Sometimes if I can't use tickets and they're digital, so I can send someone a link, I offer them for free on my YouTube show. I'm like, as a contest or whatever. Give it to someone. Probably on Ticketmaster, if you look, like you can just switch.
I didn't do that.
Yeah,
I should do that.
But that doesn't always work. I tried it with tickets. I bought tickets for a show in New York because I thought I was going to travel to New York, again, like years in advance. I didn't list them soon enough, and then at the time, there was a time where the prices had gotten really competitive, and I was like, oh, I should list them, and then I missed that time, and then towards when the concert was coming, more tickets came on. I guess other people were selling, and so then my tickets just never sold, and that's fine. I mean, whatever. Here's my thing: you buy tickets, and I do continue to buy tickets in advance. You're supporting a venue and you're supporting an artist, and if it turns out you can't go or not, you're supporting a venue and an artist, and that money is well spent because both of those industries are still struggling. I mean, Roger Waters in Madison Square Garden.
I see Roger Waters at Cinderella. He's got a cane. He's in worse shape than I am, actually.
You know, Roger Waters is the latest who was like, well, I at this point I think they're just baiting them, but like Drake, I don't know, other black artists, I'm way more important than. And I'm like, okay, first of all, actually, really, let's look at sales and sales in 2022, and let's look at how both of you use the studio, and actually, why does it have to be a competition? Why can't it be like, hip hop is not a competition or against or different from rock and roll. It is a continuation of how the studio became an artist and how John Lennon and Pink Floyd were creating that. And the hip hop artist, I'm going to say jumpstart, I mean, took it to a next level in a way that you may not understand, but the world does, because I'm sorry, hip hop is the best selling music in the world today. It's not rock and roll. It's not Roger Waters. It's not,
Right.
in my opinion, that's what sells in all countries all around the world. It's hip hop is the most popular music in the world. That's a statistic. And again, any statistic can be manipulated, but I like to believe that one.
No, I believe that. I believe that. A as a gossip item, there's a guy who had a gallery in East Hampton, and I won't mention his name, but he's very well known. He sells manuscripts. He's like done big sales of famous authors' manuscripts. And he has a reputation. There was an article about him in the New Yorker some years ago indicating that he was more than just clever, let's put it that way. Mm-hmm. And he happened also to be a parent at the school at Friends where Beatrice went. Mm-hmm. And so we got to know, we didn't get to know him, mm-hmm. because we did, but I steered clear of him for obvious reasons. Anyway, the interesting thing is that, and he's very successful, and he sold like, I don't know, James Joyce's letters to Austin Library for millions of dollars. He was arrested with a partner for buying and trying to resell at Sotheby's the manuscript for Hotel California, for the original lyrics, for the Eagles lyrics that had been stolen a long time ago from not Glenn Fry, what's his name, the guy, the other member of the Eagles who wrote them. He's a solo artist.
Don Henley.
Don Henley. They were stolen from Don Henley. Then this was a known fact. I mean, like in 2007. And he was trying to sell them at Sotheby's, claiming that, I don't know, but it was interesting to me that they were worth it. They said they were worth $1 million, but they were the.
Okay, you know who Kyle Rittenhouse is, the Kenosha killer.
Yes.
So it was reported that he was trying to get the AK-47 back, and allegedly it was because he wanted to melt it down, but for whatever reason, someone pointed out, this is not my joke, but they said, careful trying to get your own memorabilia back, bro. That's how they caught OJ, which is true, because OJ was acquitted for murder, but anyway, that's a highly inappropriate, I don't know, but
the point is, he was let go. I mean, right? I mean, he.
Oh no, and we're talking about like trying to impeach the Supreme Court justice, or if that can even be done, or if you can, censure someone because they lied under Congress, or all that stuff. But let's look at what lifetime appointments mean. Like, how I don't hear a lot of conversation about life. I mean, I do, but I mean it's term limits, and I get it, but I also think it's less about term limits and lifetime appointments, and more about holding, regardless of whether you have a lifetime appointment, holding people accountable. So that judge, there is no part of anything that was fair. I mean, it was in the news day after day after day that he clearly was biased, from how you could describe the victims to how from day one, his bias was clear. but that's allowed. That's not motions for a mistrial. That's not that's allowed. This also Cal Rittenhouse. I think there are still civil trials going on. So right now I'll call him a killer, but I think we may be allowed to call him a murderer again. Just like you can call Johnny Depp a wife beater, even though, yeah, no, I hate Johnny Depp. That's a whole nother thing. I hate Johnny Depp. Can we talk about, so this
He's a good, he did a good acting job.
he did
though.
a good, he's had,
On a I mean, in court, he did a good acting job.
no, and I mean, it's not even an acting job. He did a good producing job. He produced an entertainment event that,
he produced it. Yeah.
Tell me about this artist. We were talking about them last week. And
okay, so I'm reading these detective novels by this British guy, and they're kind of, they're set. There's a whole series of them, but they start off in the 50s and they go right up till now with the same pair of old geezers. But there's a character, as a police woman character in them, who's probably in her 40s or 50s, and she's a tough broad who's enamored of the 50s British kind of buxom dollars. She still dresses in that way, and she kind of, so, and it's a very good characterization. She's a very good character. And every once in a while, in one book or another, there was a reference to like a Alma Cogan hairdo or Alma Cogan lipstick. So I looked up Alma Cogan because I'd never heard of her. And it seemed to me that she was, in a way, a kind of,
you said it, Amy
prototype for what's her name?
Amy Winehouse. You said it,
Amy Winehouse, and she had these extraordinary dresses, very good, that's a good homage to Alma Cogan. But the thing that when I started to kind of Google her, the thing that fascinated me was that she was very big in the late 50s and early 60s. And before the Beatles were famous, really, John Lennon used to make fun of her, like in the act. Like, because
for sure. No,
because she was like, then they met on a TV show in 1964. And he sang one of her numbers, and apparently they were supposed to have had a thing, even though she was much older than him, or 10 years or so.
I'm sure that doesn't surprise me at all.
No, but because his first wife said he always liked older women anyway, and look at Yoko, so.
Oh, yeah, okay, shots fired.
Because he was looking for his mother,
let's not.
It seemed to me that culturally it was very interesting that Alma Cogan type, whatever, the way she sang, the way she was kind of suddenly old-fashioned, and then gradually somehow rewoven over 50 years.
I mean, to me, and for me as a music fan who embraces all genres, I'm really fascinated by, definitely early rock and roll played off of, I'm not Edie Gourmet, I'm not Mel Torme, I'm not, they definitely would riff on, make fun of, but then also sometimes cover and homage, and I mean, because even the big band era, even all the different branches of popular music, novelty music, and I love novelty songs, they're all connected. I mean, again, the Beatles started as a skiffle band. They started, so you're not, I mean, and then basically we're just an R&B soul cover band in Germany, and that's where they built their child. I mean, it's
Well, it is. I was listening to. I think my biggest advance recently is when driving, I will not listen to the news anymore. I listen to real jazz station on Sirius,
Yes.
which is very varied. It's amazing because they have you do have Sinatra, you have big band, you have. I found out that Lars Ulrich's godfather was a famous saxophone player, African American who lived in Sweden. I mean, and this morning I heard Willie Nelson and Nora Jones singing a
Yes.
standard. It was just unbelievable.
Yeah,
So
yeah. No, Willie Nelson and standards. That's that's a whole thing. We have about 3 minutes.
okay.
Do you have any story, anything else? Okay. So I have a. I don't know if I recommend this, but okay. I have a Roku. It's on Roku. It's called Cinderella. It's a mini series. I watch at least the first couple of minutes to tell you anything. I don't think it's your type of thing.
I have Roku. Okay, it's called Cinderella.
Yeah, it's a romance. It has an alternate title because it's Italian. It's from 2011. It's a mini series. It has 2 episodes that are 2 hours long. Like I said, it's a romance, so that's why I don't think it's your thing. It's okay. So it's Cinderella.
Is it funny? Is it funny?
It's not. Okay. It's here's what it is. It is sincere. It is it's set in post-war Italy. It is the retelling of Cinderella, but from a really it's almost the opposite of funny. There are some moments, but it's really very earnest. So again, it's a romance. It is but again, retelling of Cinderella in post-war Italy. There's no magic at all. Everyone is just human beings, and there's no So, for instance, and here's what it distilled for me for the first time. And I'm obsessed with Cinderella. How much it is a class story. It is a story of class.
Okay, yeah.
So, for instance, the coachman, it's not magic that makes them turn into I need to get back to my thing because I'll get fired. It's like, it's just, there's also this subplot about industrialists who are trying to bring TV to the masses in Italy.
Okay. I'm going to give it a go. I'll give it a go.
I don't think it's your thing, but I think you might like it if you give it a chance. And I really, but I really enjoyed it, and it's
good.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I love you, son.
I love you, Dad. Okay.
Have a great week.
We didn't talk about Canada. I don't think I'm going to be able. I have to.
You don't have time for your passport. I don't know.
And that's your thing with your brother anyway. I know. But Monday is British Columbia Day and New Brunswick Day. So.
Okay. We'll celebrate.
East Coast, West Coast. But no, I love Canada.
We'll do it. We'll do it.
Figure it out sometime. Yes.
We'll do it. Don't worry.
I'll talk to you soon. I love you, Dad. Okay.
I love you.
Bye.
Bye.